Hi, I'm Jill from KiteCo, and I'm going to be talking about Affinity Designer today. Affinity Designer in relation to sublimation and printing fabric for bag making. This is my pattern, my latest pattern for sander, and as you can see, I'm a fan of sublimated prints, and all the fronts of those that I have done, apart from a couple, have been sublimated. And in this video, what we're going to talk about in particular is the pocket flap. So I'm looking at the options to fussy cut sublimation for your pattern pieces, not just for sander, for other bags as well. So as you can see, I like them to be perfect, and that's relatively easy to do in Affinity. So we're going to go through that. Now, I have been using Affinity for quite some time. I figured it out as I've gone. So if there's anything you want to know, please drop a comment down below, and if I don't know, I'll try and find the answer. But anyway, let's go through this now and figure out how we can very easily, very simply fussy cut pieces in the shape of our pattern piece. So let's look at Affinity now. So we are in Affinity Designer. Now we want to open a file. I will start a new file. So we go File and New. I like to stick it at A3. You can make it bigger or smaller later on, but just make sure it is 300 dpi so that you don't lose any quality of your image. And I like to select or create an artboard. So basically an artboard is like a piece of paper on a table, and you can put things outside the paper. If you don't have an artboard, you can't. Okay, so that's our artboard, and as you can see, there's one layer over here, or one thing on your artboard. Now, if you haven't worked with layers before, I have done a basic video which looks at the layers a little bit more, but I will also go over them again here. So if we're wanting to fussy cut two pattern pieces that are going to be sewn next to each other or are going to be sewn in the same place, like a pocket, like on the bag that I just showed you, then this is what we're going to do, or this is how I do it with an SVG. So I'm going to open an SVG file. You cannot drop an SVG file into Affinity Designer file and manipulate it, but you can open the file. I want an SVG, don't I? Where's my other pattern? SVG. We've got an SVG here. So what we want to do is copy the pieces from this file and drop them in the other file. And as you can see here, we've got an untitled file there and our pattern SVG modified there. So if we click and drag, left click and drag over that whole file, release, it will select everything that's on there. So then we go either right click and copy, Control C, or edit and copy. There's so many ways of doing it. Click back on our untitled file, go edit and paste. Then that is our pattern pieces. So very simple. We've now got our pattern pieces. We can manipulate them. So if we look at our layers panel, we've got our piece of paper, we've got a curve, which is our pocket, and we've got another curve, which is our pocket flap. Anything that is dropped into a vector-based program is going to be set here as a curve if it's actually from an SVG or something like that. So to make it simpler, click on that word and give it a name. So we're going to say flap, because it is the flap. And maybe click on this one and we'll call it pocket, because actually let's spell it right, pocket, because it is the pocket. That makes it much easier. They're identified as pocket and flap. So when you click on them, they're blue here and it highlights it blue. So if I click on it here, it highlights it there. So that's what layer it is on. So imagine the artboard as a piece of paper, and these are different layers on top of that piece of paper. What we're wanting to do is put our image inside, or nest our image inside these shapes, so that we can get it perfectly right for our fussy cut. So what we're going to do now, we will need two images. So let's drop in an image. Now go to File and I go Place. Go and find your image wherever it might be. Now I'm using this little one here, Monsters JPEG. So this is it here. It's a cute little image. I will drop a link to the person who made this below in their Etsy store. It's so cute. And we're going to drop it there. So as you can see, it is too big for this file. So if I put it where I can see it slightly there, take this little top circle here, hold your shift key down and drag your mouse till you think it's going to be about the right size. Now there's a few different ways of doing this, but I think this is the most basic. And as you can see, that's pretty much the right size. So if we drag it down again, so just left click and drag so it's underneath, you can see your pocket. Go a bit closer, you can see your pocket outline on it. The thing is, we need two of these images. So we'll put that over there for now. Right click on it, copy, right click and paste, and that will put it right on the top. Or you could have just gone up here, copy, edit and paste again, and it does the same. So if you look over here in our panel, we've got two monster pictures, pocket and flap. So what we need to do with these two pieces is we need to figure out how they will be when they're sewn together. Now this is my pattern, so I know that it needs to be centered and lined up at the top. Maybe you're sewing two pieces next to each other and you want them to line up at a certain point. Maybe it's a stripe or a flower and you want them to match up. So you would have it where it was so that they would match up. So to make this perfect, I'm going to drag and my left click and let go to select both. Go up to alignment up the top here, click on that. Now you've got a middle alignment, so I'll click that one, and I want a top alignment, so I click that. So it's going to align it that way and at the top. So I go apply, and I know that's now in the perfect place as it would be when it's sewn. So I've got my two images. I'm going to select both of them, drag over and release, and just move them over our pocket like that. So all you can see now is your image. So we want to come over here and pick up or to move one of our pictures. So click and hold in the little picture of it here, drag it down until it's over the top of the pocket or the flap picture. So at this stage it's over the flap. Then move my mouse to be over the word and let go. Now that looks like nothing's happened, but it has. Just trust me, it does work. Go back up to the second picture and click on it to select it. Click and hold to drag it into the picture, the blank picture where the pocket is. Move it over the word and let go. Right, so what you've got now over here is a pocket and a flap, but they're currently sitting over each other. So if you click the flap over here, click it here and move it up, as you can see, it stays in exactly the same position. Control Z is undo. So we've put it back. If we just click here, as opposed to clicking the flap, we're actually highlighting the monster picture and it will move the picture within the flap, and that's not what we want. So we want to move the flap, not the picture. So that is how we would then print it. Now if you don't want the black border around it, click and drag over the whole lot, come up to your stroke and just make that nothing. So then the black border is gone. Now to print it, we simply drag and select over the top, so left click and drag and let go and it selects everything. Come up to File, go Print. Oh, that looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Okay, that's what we expect. Go into Properties and select your preset if you've got one for your sublimation prints. Mine is my best sub reversed, and I go OK. Come to the range, which is the artboard, select Selection, and as you can see, that's just the things we've selected. Make sure the scale is 100 and then print. Go OK, and it will print exactly that. So is that as clear as mud? Right, so we'll do it again. We've got our file. We're going to open our SVG, which is our pattern pieces. We are going to drag and select the pattern pieces we want. Now we want both of these. There could be more on here, so you would just select the ones you want. We're going to go up here and go copy, go back to our file, go up here and go paste, and that becomes our pattern pieces in there. So if we select the flap and we're going to write flap on that one, and the other one, just click on the word and we're going to put pocket, just to make it easier. We then want to place our image, so we're placing our monsters. We are clicking and moving that to be over the top, clicking the top button and holding our shift key so that we can drag it. So hold your shift and drag that button until it's the size you want. So that's right. You've got your image here. Now what we want to do is align our pocket. Remember, put it in the right place that it's going to be sewn. So go to alignment. For me, it's center and top. It will depend on your pattern and what you're doing as to how you align these two pieces. Now you need two of these, so you can either go up here, edit, copy, or you can right click, copy, right click, paste. And as you can see, you've got two of them. You will need to select both and move them onto the same space as your square. If you don't, they won't show. They'll be there, but they'll be over here out of the way. So click on one, click and hold, this is your left mouse key, drag it down over your flap, take it across over the word and let go. Take the next one, drag it down and across over the word before you let go. Now you want to select the flap so that the flap is blue and click and drag it up. If you're wanting to remove the black lines, select them all, go up to stroke, take it down to 0, and that is your pattern pieces with your print inside it. Select them all, file, print, then you need to check your properties or whichever you want to do. Select your range, should be your selection only. Make sure your scale is at 100 and that this is either automatic, portrait or landscape, whatever you want it to be. So if it's landscape, it's not going to work. You want it to be portrait or automatic, and then click print. So it's as simple as that. So here are our prints. As you can see, that's all been sublimated on blockout fabric. That's how it printed. I've just trimmed off the fabric and I've cut this one. I don't normally cut them till I've interfaced it, but I've cut that one just to show you. And we would be lining it up the top like that as we sew it, and perfect. Now if you were to do this out of a piece of fabric, you're going to have to lose the whole repeat of the fabric, so you actually have a lot of wastage. Whereas doing it this way, you save fabric and you even save ink because you're only printing exactly what you need. Win-win. So that's how we do our fussy cuts. Pretty simple once you know your way around Affinity, but I'm sure you would pick it up in no time. So if you've got any questions, please comment down below and I'll see what I can do about answering them. I will also link up here to another video I've done on more basic parts of just sizing our images and also the pattern for sander. Now the links for all those will be down below. So if this is the first time to my channel, please do subscribe and give us a thumbs up, as we will be trying to do more content on this kind of information in the near future.